Hey, hello. I hope you're all doing well. Today I have a special guest. As you all know, all my guests are special. And today I have Fabrice Design with me. Hey Fabrice,
Hi,
can you introduce yourself to
sure.
our community?
My name is Fabrice, 30 years old. I live in Belgium, near Ghent. And I'm working as a data architect at Seika.
Okay, can you tell us more about this your company?
Our company, yeah, sure. It's not a new company. It's founded in 1992, if I'm not mistaken. It's grown to 9,000 people already. So in a span of 30 years, 9,000 people, a global IT solution provider. Where I'm working at the data solutions department in Belgium. Our business unit stems from 2016, so not even 10 years old. In Belgium, we have around 200 data people and globally 350. So that's about the range of our company and a number of employees. Um, and yeah, we're a Databricks partner, so we're heavily invested in everything Databricks as well. So
And I've heard that you're a Databricks champion.
yeah.
So can you tell to our community how did you achieve it so they can maybe do the same thing to apply and become a Databricks champion?
To achieve it, well, first of all, I was the first at Seika, so I had a bit different path than if you would be a second champion and so on inside of a company or inside of a partner. Um, how did I get there? Well, it's mainly doing the right things in your career, I guess. Doing work with Spark, doing work with Databricks, knowing what you're doing in data engineering or data in general, let's say. In my 7 years of experience, I was able to create to help with building an IoT cloud in the Azure stack, and we build our own data lake on ADLS, let's say, without Databricks originally. So it was only Spark 3.0, Dockerized container, so a bit of technical baggage. And then yeah, transitioned into Databricks because it leverages a lot of things. You don't need to worry about configuring your Spark cluster, let's say. And yeah, learning all the different technologies. And then I stepped over to consultancy where I had a lot of different contexts instead of the one IoT context. And it really opened up a lot of use cases to use those features of Databricks, let's say. And yeah, learning more about the platform helped me become a champion, doing your certifications and having a lot of different contexts and use cases, and having a great community around you already really helps to getting there.
So I guess you started with the associate data engineering, then the
Yeah.
professional one.
Yeah, well, I did the engineering track. You can become a champion either way if you're going data engineering or because you're a generative AI specialist working on Databricks. But mainly, it all boils down to getting up to a solution architect level, knowing what the use cases are that Databricks can help you with, knowing the product in and out, um, and solving cases that are not your expertise, right? For example, AI is not my expertise. I have colleagues who are experts on that, luckily. So I took the data engineering path first, data engineering associate certification. Um, I was already quite ready. I did the partner academy learning path for it, but yeah, not that much new things. If you're having a few years of experience, the professional was a bit trickier
Yeah.
because yeah, then it's more like okay, how to do some observability, monitoring, and so on. So yeah, you have to know, hey, had to had some bad experience already to know those things or at least study for them. And yeah, after that professional, I got the opportunity of our company to go inside of the championship program. I think the next step is following a solution architect course from Databricks. So following a technical background at Databricks on how the solution looks like under the hood and how to help people achieve their goals. And then to have a panel review with Databricks themselves to see if you're kind of fit to follow next to the solution architects of Databricks to help them solve the issues at their clients, let's say.
That was very informative.
Well, it was a more detailed explanation. Yeah, that's true.
I think it is worth having a look at Databricks community, like Databricks. Oh gosh, I forgot I forgot the word. Databricks platform in order to take the training, the associate data engineering and the professional data engineering, then take the course, and why not getting certified?
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, the training on the academy is amazing. And if you then can pack it with real life use cases or even DB demos, because that's also a nice learning material, because it just gives you a full lakehouse experience, let's say, with some basic notebooks to just get more of an idea on how to fit everything together from those learning paths. That's also nice.
For your information, Fabrice, since you're using DB demos or demo center, now all the use cases or the examples have been moved to support Unity Catalog, and all the DB SQL dashboards now they support Lakeview, or that's what we call AI BI dashboards. So we did a complete migration to support UC and the new experience.
All right, so they're upgraded already. Nice.
Yeah. And tell me, like, how did you do to build a community inside your company?
Well, first of all, we're a consultancy company, so every new technology is embraced, and there already was a community, right? I was not the first one at the company. We were already using Databricks from our start, from the start where we were introduced to Databricks. I already had quite a few experienced colleagues, I had to say. But how do you build out a community? That's by being open, sharing things, being eager, having people eager to learn, especially. And it's more, a normal process of growth, right? First hurdles are hard, getting people engaged, doing those knowledge sharing, brown bag sessions, internal teams discussions, blogs, sitting together next to the coffee machine and having a battle on what feature to use on which use case, let's say. Getting people involved, that was the biggest step. And then finding a nice organizational pattern to go with it. Because once you're having thought leaders, once you're having amazing engineers, experts on specific use cases or topics, you still need the process to get them in line with each other and to not reinvent the wheel every time over and over again. Find a nice central place where you can put your demos, where you can put your documentation, even those stupid things, just centralizing things, getting an idea on how to share the information on a structured way. Those are then the next steps, and then it's just hoping that everyone inside of your community or inside your company will follow you, and the team, let's say, will build it out itself.
Yeah, I was thinking like when you have the data governance here, we need to call it, let's say, people or knowledge management. How you can structure all the information you do have, how you can structure the people or your colleagues to, let's say, to to create a unity, and then like this possibility to share knowledge. And because I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure you face some problems that I have never faced, and the opposite also true. You can exchange experience maybe, and then move forward quickly if you face the same problems. And I think this is something very, very interesting, and this is something I do in a weekly basis with all my colleagues. Like we discuss, okay, tell us something crunchy, what happened, how were you able to fix this problem. And it's like, creating your own knowledge base.
yeah, exactly. It's creating your own knowledge base, and the nice thing about just sharing or listening to other people is that you're getting experience with sharing yourself. And I'm also a team lead at our consultancy firm, and I'm a team lead of about 8 engineers. And now I started in my one-to-ones that I have regularly, about every 2 weeks. About I also always have the topic, share something you're proud of or what you implemented the last 2 weeks. It can be small wins, let's say, but they just get aware of sharing things. I get to learn things instead of just having to listen or tell them what to do, let's say. So it's a win for everyone, and it opens up the sharing community, let's say. And
Yeah.
if there's a nice thing inside of it that I know, okay, I'm not the only one who's interested in what you're saying, then I just tell them, okay, put it on our internal channels, let everyone know what amazing things you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also about recognizing
Yeah,
what everyone is doing,
exactly.
putting this person on the spotlight.
Exactly. Everyone, at least, even if it's a stupid thing that has already been done, still you get the recognition of you're doing the right thing. And sometimes, a lot of times, someone thinks, wow, it was not that hard. I just looked at documentation and I found my way around it. It can still be a breakthrough for anyone else. And getting the recognition of, hey, you did something nice is really important for everyone.
Yeah.
As
And
small as it is.
and our documentation is being updated continuously with new features, with new I don't
Exactly,
know
it's not only the documentation, right? Databricks is a never-ending story of features being introduced or upgraded. So you're never done learning, especially in the Databricks field.
yeah. And since you mentioned features, uh, can you just tell us a bit about the exciting use cases you are working on right now?
Well, right now I'm more transitioning and growing our community and consulting the consultants, I call it. Because yeah, we already have quite a few experts, and they're busy on their projects, and we projects. Um, and the last use cases that I worked on are mainly where we helped out design our own best practices. Where we, for example, did a data warehouse migration from a really nice implemented data warehouse solution on Azure towards a lakehouse methodology on Databricks, Azure Databricks, at the Technical University of Eindhoven. I also helped design a data mesh topology in a healthcare consortium where they wanted to share medical research information across different entities to get better results in their research context. What did I
So
do?
I guess you relied on Unity catalog and data
Yeah,
sharing.
sure. Well, that's more my expertise. So I'm also a Unity catalog subject matter expert. So I'm sitting together with other champions and people from Databricks to see, yeah, what best practices can be distilled. How do we tackle the tougher problems? If there is a problem, throw it inside of a group of peers and try to solve it. And that's my focus inside of Seika as well. being a Unity catalog expert and helping either companies make the right data architecture decisions concerning Unity catalog, or how can Unity catalog help them inside of their data governance issues that they currently have, let's say.
And since you mentioned Unity catalog, how hard is it to convince C-levels with the importance of this subject?
How hard it is to convince people first. So we are, as a consultancy company, are mainly project-based consultancy, which means there is already a use case. Whether it's build me a full data platform, then it's quite easy to sell Unity catalog. If the use case is, okay, I want to have an AI model that does X, Y, and Z based on that specific data sets. First of all, we need to sell them a data platform-like architecture, because building a single use case is not the way forward. You need to build a nice fundamentals for it. And there is where the fundamentals shine. If you're talking about storing data inside of a data lake, or in general, managing multiple data sets that you are storing in a data lake, in fact, always, nowadays at least, Unity catalog shines, right? And then it's just easy to go for Databricks as your data platform and use Unity catalog on top. Which is quite easy to sell Unity catalog, because now it's quite out of the box with Databricks. So we just have to tell them how amazing Databricks is, and that's it. The toughest one to convince to go for Unity catalog is for existing Databricks users, where you have Hive metastores, etc.
Exactly.
And then the tough part happens. But why would we invest in the refactoring going to Unity catalog? Because now our business value is already solved, let's say. And then, yeah, one of the biggest things there is getting the right people at the table, right? You need to find the correct sponsors first, because when you're in a project mode, you're having the use case people next to you, or the project managers next to you, and they might feel the benefit, but you need to find the budget.
Yeah.
Find the budget for those benefits, and then you can go for the an approach where you say, okay, these are the nice added values. If you go for Unity catalog, for example, governance around your machine learning models, having full lineage, and especially the lineage is something that sells. But you can also go the other way around. Do they have a nice solution, nice answer to some compliancy regulations? Can they show us where their data comes from already? How do they manage? How do they manage management in general across their different environments, or across their different use cases? Because a Hive metastore, typically it is tied to having one single workspace, but you're not having an encapsulating overview of what is your data estate, let's say. And that's something Unity catalog nicely solves if you're already a Databricks customer. And then it's fairly easy to sell if it's a client that is looking forward. If it's a client that has any aspirations in the AI field, then Unity catalog is just an intermediate step of going towards those use cases.
And I'm gonna ask you a tough question, but I tried in the past to convince some customers to migrate to Unity catalog, and I faced sometimes a problem. You may call it a random problem, but that was mainly with Azure customers, because we could, like, if you want to access the account console, you need to have at least the global admin or the AD on Azure.
Yeah.
And this is hard to, this permission is hard to get, even for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we're a Microsoft partner and a Databricks partner, and we're only implementing Databricks for now on Azure. So I can feel your struggle. um, that is true. Sometimes we're in luck that our own development team gets the privileged identity management of doing these things, where they can just request that specific set, because we're quite a big company, so we do the full IT solutions, and typically our customers are also in it with Seika for our full cloud solution, let's say. So that's something for those type of customers we can already do. But yeah, if you're not involved in that process, it's quite hard. And it all stems down if your sponsors is okay with it and it's a nice validated project at the business already, then it's fairly easy. Then it's just going to IT and saying, hey, needs to happen. It's it's already aligned with this and this business person. Just do it for us. Here's the go-to guide. And click on my name, make me account admin for the time being, or at least educate the people who need to be account admin from their side. But
Yeah.
that's only the first step, Youssef, right? Because
Yeah.
then you opened up the account console, and then the real magic needs to happen. The overarching account management and metastore management is the next step that you need to educate everyone in. And it has its hurdles, right? Especially on Azure, with the skim provisioning that is not optimal yet, because there are quite a few improvements coming that I heard of at the Data and AI Summit. So that's nice. So yeah, it keeps us busy, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And since again you talked about Unity catalog, I've heard or I've seen so many customers like looking for the best way or the best strategy to start the migration from HMS to UC.
Mm-hmm.
So according to you, what's the best strategy? Like, do you advise them to start small and then like move, let's say, project by project, or doing the assessment using UCX, or
Well,
what are your thoughts?
yeah, it all depends on the client and their current architecture and the size. You can use UCX for doing the full overhaul or project based, let's say. But in general, it still stems down to who's your sponsor for doing this. If it's an enterprise-wide action, then definitely do it in a full overhaul. Let's pick a beta project, let's say, to try it out. But do it at once, because otherwise there will still be legacy, and in the long run it doesn't help your case. But one of the nice things that I would say is validate with business first if on how to tackle it, and do a nice thorough analysis before actually doing the migration. And there's where UCX might shine, because you can do kind of dry runs, let's say, and show you quite a few things. But prior to migrating, the first step is indeed already getting that account activated and setting up metastores for the new projects. Because it's not only current business that needs to change, but also the new use cases. And it might be interesting to wait up to having a new use case onboarding, or a new project team onboarding, let's say, where you have new workspaces, so you can split out the creation of a Unity catalog environment next to the migration of others. Because otherwise you might have some impact on current processes. It's never an exact use case, an exact use case that's happening, right? It can be tricky. But if you ask me, go for a full-fledged implementation from the get-go. and don't bother about having Hive metastores anymore. Just to make sure that you have the full encompassing overview and power of Unity there.
Yeah, indeed. Also with all the benefits that Unity is bringing, like beside the fact that all those system tables that are now available, possibility to track the cost, the opening all the GenAI capabilities, lineage, debugging experience. I mean, there are like almost, I can say, like maybe 80% of the features they are now
exactly.
only on UC.
Every feature that that we now use to sell Databricks, let's say, is built on top of Unity and mainly around those system tables, right? If someone is talking about, okay, I can see data lineage, yeah, fine, it's due to those system tables. Or I had a nice question last week about how can I do auditing on who accessed what data? For me, it was quite simple. There are audit tables inside of Unity catalog where you can find every action that is happening. Every credential vending that happened for a specific user is registered already inside of an audit table. It's stored a year. There was a requirement of having it 10 years, let's say. But yeah, it's fairly easy. Just have a standard ETL pipeline for you, reading out that table and storing it even longer. But yeah, it stores a lot of information. And I'm really hoping up to the point where I don't have to build my Lakehouse views or my AI BI dashboards. On top of those system tables, I'm hoping for the Lakehouse observability project inside of Databricks to give me nice dashboards out of the box coming with Databricks. And to come back on the Hive Metastore thing, that's exactly where Unity Catalog can shine, and having governance workspaces. One encompassing governance workspace where you can monitor everything that is happening inside of your Databricks account, instead of having to hope that every workspace does the right thing. Where now with the system tables, you can just watch what's happening in every workspace.
And what I did, I think just this morning, I was using Jenny Spaces with system tables to ask some random questions. Hey, tell me which table has been most accessed recently in this month, for example, and then who accessed this specific table or who modified and who can access to this one. And Jenny was able to answer those questions instantly without knowing any SQL code, which means anyone can just go and ask some random questions over system tables. And then, of course, it won't give response every time, but you can give more context, add your instructions, and you can be ready to go.
Exactly. The nice thing about the system tables is that all the metadata around those tables is already filled in. If you would do the same thing about your own data tables, Genie is also able to do it on your own data, right? So it's always nice to see that everything that is locked inside of Databricks can be reused to find new business value, or at least solve some questions that business might have. Yeah.
And I have also a question for you. Like, this is something I always hear from customers. How should I implement the catalog, schema, and table level? Like, should the catalog be production? I have like one catalog for production, one catalog for staging, one for dev, or should I have different catalogs and in every single catalog a schema with production, dev, staging? I think this is the question I hear the most.
Yeah, it's all based on semantics and on how you build your infrastructure typically. If you're having one workspace where you're doing your development and your production workflows are running on the same thing, for me it doesn't matter. But so these are our best practices as a consultancy company that I'm giving away freely now, or at least it's my interpretation of them.
Thank you, Fabrice.
what I would suggest is so you're having the 3-level namespace, catalog, schema, and table name, for example. On a catalog level, I use a 3-level namespace as well, being the entity where you're running for example, finance, then the project name of that entity, and then the environment. That's my typical go-to catalog name. That enables data mesh architecture by having different business units to have their own solution. On a product level, you also are able to do it, and then have a catalog per every environment. That's my go-to case. Why? Because then you can have a default location on your catalog, because now without the metastore storage, which I would advise not to use, you can say, okay, for this catalog, store my data in this specific storage container, bucket, storage account, which is physically separate from another one. So then your production environment is safe from your development environment, and it's based on a catalog level. If then a non-knowing user creates a random schema inside of that catalog, every data is still stored at that specific storage location, right? So production data is always separated from development data. That's the main goal of putting production and development in separate catalogs for me, because schemas are managed by users and not by system admins, let's say, or infrastructure people. And it guarantees that your data is secured in the same fashion as the data that it's co-located with. So that's my advice on the development and production catalog suggestion. You can do the same thing on schema level, right? But it makes it a bit trickier to do it. Yeah.
Got you. Thank you. And by the way, for those who are watching this, they can still benefit from the catalog segregation, which means this catalog can only be accessible from the production. It can only be can read and write from the production workspace. It can only be read from another, for example, catalog if they want to do some testing.
Another easy thing is if you're having the scoped at the business entity, project, and environment level, typically it will stem together with the specific workspace you're using, and you can put the default catalog of that workspace up to that catalog, and 95% of the time you don't need to worry about the 3-level namespace anymore, but you can still use the 2-level namespace as well. So it's a nice tip to help, especially for less experienced users or less technical users, to encompass only the data that they need, let's say. Makes it easier to adopt.
And I have one more question for you before
Sure.
we close. If you have to choose only one feature from Databricks, what would it be? And of course, Unity Catalog is not an answer because it's a wrapper over tons of features. So Unity Catalog does not count.
Databricks itself, right? Tough one.
I think something maybe you wanted to have when you were like a data engineer at the beginning of your career.
Well, first of all, the management of clusters, it's underrated still. I don't know a lot of engineers who can manage that much clusters inside of it. It's maybe not a feature, but in general, the developer experience. I think I can say Terraform module and Databricks asset bundles. I think those are really beneficial things of having CI/CD up and running. And to me, it feels every project stays ahead of their time or not based on how their CI/CD and DevOps processes are implemented. If you can deploy easily to a new environment, or you can deploy easily to your development and your production environment, then you're already set for value. And then it's just finding the business context and getting there. And I think those are the best value that Databricks offers. It's just the developer experience. Is that too broad of a feature, or are you hoping for another answer?
No, I think you got it right. Like the dev experience is something that I hear a lot from customers, because they're able to use notebooks, they're able to use IDs if they want.
Exactly.
They have Databricks Connect. Now they did integrate with DB Connect with serverless offering. We have the assistant that can help them, debug their problem, the auto completion now. And I was just writing queries this morning. I was querying system tables, and I was like, okay, I was looking for, I think, request underscore params, and then it suggests, yeah, you should take the email, and then I add end, and it automatically prompt request params, and then added the cluster ID. And this is, yeah, it's not game changing, but it just improve or my productivity, and I don't need to go to do some back and forth to get the schema name or the missing column. And this is something important, because if you're able to improve the productivity, I don't know, by just 30 minutes a day, it's at the end of the month, it's at least, I don't know, 10 hours. So it's literally you're winning one day per month, and it's 12 days per year. I mean, it's a good improvement.
And now that you're talking about productivity, that's a nice thing to get, because from new data engineers or even experienced data engineers, I also often get the question, what node type should I use for my clusters, or how should I scale my clusters? And then my typical answer is, first identify if you need to tweak it. Because you're the most expensive one. It's not the cluster that is the expensive one. It's the expert that is developing that's the most costly one. It's always better to first identify if it's needed. If there is potentially a need, try Fulton is my first answer. And otherwise, I'm hoping in the near future that the serverless domain, which Databricks is heavily investing in, gets the t-shirt size option as that Databricks SQL has, because you're always aware of how big of a size the load will be, but not having to worry about configuring every knob would be great. But for me currently, the Databricks SQL serverless, the Databricks serverless workflows, for example, need at least one or two knobs to work with, even if it's just for having the technical experts being happy that they can do some transformations on that cluster. But in general, the way where Databricks is going in managing things for you, it just helps you solve the productivity issue. But it should not be
with the serverless.
Yeah, especially with serverless, right? It's really helping, but I'm just missing that tiny knob of having the t-shirt sizing of where serverless is going with your costs, because every business productivity is a cost game, and you're just transitioning it from your
the classic offering.
Yeah, from the classic offering where the developer is your expensive cost towards infrastructure being your expensive cost, which can already be solved by just limiting with the t-shirt size offering, let's say. But I'm fairly certain in the near future, Databricks will come with an answer on top of that as well. So
that's for sure. That's for sure. Thank you, Fabrice, for your time. Thanks for sharing your experience, your wide knowledge about the platform, but also your expertise. I was lucky to have you with me in this during this session. Thank you again, Fabrice.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.